Hi guys, welcome to my channel, Girl in Bloom, and today I'm going to be talking about depression, so stay tuned. So, I am 23 years old, nearly turning 24, and I have been dealing with depression for the last 9 years, I'd say. I didn't know it was depression until 2 years ago when I finally sought some help from a therapist, and now I'm on the path of learning how to live with it, because depression's an ongoing illness. It's not something that you could ever be cured of, but it's something that if you know what to do, you know the signs, you know how to manage it, you can live life the same as anybody that didn't have a mental illness. Another thing is depression is a silent, invisible illness. It's not the same as if somebody broke their leg. You can see the cast, you can see that they've got a problem. But depression, it's all in your heart and it's all in your head. And unless people know, they just don't know. So for me, that was a big problem, because I would paint on a smile and be happy, bubbly Charlotte, but inside I was dying. Inside I just felt so dark and lonely and low, and it really affected me because inside I felt like I was screaming. I was like, somebody help me, like somebody help me, can nobody see? But that's the trick that depression plays. It means that you are obligated almost to seem like you can face anything and you can do anything, and you paint on your happy face for the world, but the more that you smile for the world, the more you die on the inside. It felt like I was just cracking and I was getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and the depression was just big, 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 and it was so mean. The way that I can describe my depression was, it was another version of myself, and like, I don't like that Charlotte, she was horrible. It's like a voice, but it's my voice in my head, which makes it even worse, because it's not even a voice that is a stranger's voice that you can just dismiss and ignore. It is me talking to me, and I would say I'd just be horrible. I'd say awful things. I would comment on my weight, say I'm fat and disgusting, and I would say nobody likes you, you're a horrible person, everybody thinks you're lovely but you're not, you're evil, you're horrible. Sorry, my camera shut off. So I think I was describing how I would speak to myself. I would say I'm ugly, I would name things that I hated, and then it moved from thoughts into behaviours. So I would do like bad things. Like, it doesn't make sense saying it now, but in the time it was the only thing I could think of doing. I would like control my food. Sometimes I wouldn't eat. I would like go a day without eating, and then I would binge and I would gorge on the food, and I would eat anything and everything in sight. But after you did that, then comes the mental beating up, and you'd be like, well, you are disgusting, look at all that food you just ate. I was right all along. And then you would go back to depriving, and then you would feel like, okay, you're depriving yourself, okay, at least you could do something right. And I would set like time frames. I'd be like, okay, I'll go till 12 without eating, okay, I'll go till 1, okay, now I'll go till 3. And it just got obsessive. And then I had some problems with bulimia for a while, and I would gorge, and after I gorged I would purge, and I would just try and get rid of it all, and I would make myself sick. And it's like you're trapped in a cycle, and your days just go round and around and around in like this awful whirlpool of sadness. But I couldn't drag myself out of it because I was the one pushing myself back into it. The darkest and lowest period of my life was nearly a year ago now. I was coming home from a job I hated, just retail, rubbish job, rubbish place. I was working there and they had a position that had come available and they wouldn't let me have it, and they wouldn't let me have it because of the fact that sometimes I had good days and bad days. And I explained to them that it was a symptom of my depression, and basically they didn't care. So I remember every day going in just feeling rubbish. Like, at that place I'd had so many problems. It started off as a Saturday job and then I got my degree and graduated, and because of my anxiety I just fell into staying where it was comfortable. I was having panic attacks at work. I had a manager there that was bullying me. He was picking on me, he said horrible things, would treat me unfairly. And I remember speaking to one of the female managers from another floor after he sent me to her for her to do a disciplinary that he had set up. I remember telling her, like, listen, I'm having some real problems, he's really picking on me. And her just saying, listen, I don't want to get involved, I don't want to hear about it. And I was just so disappointed, like so disappointed. I would never treat somebody like that, but you can't expect everybody to treat you how you treat them. And I moved to another department, and then my manager got changed. I got a different manager and it was fine, but every day was just awful. It was a struggle and I just couldn't cope. And when one of the girls that I got along with, like, great, she got a new job and she was leaving and I was so happy for her, but I knew it was going to be even worse now that she was gone. And then for them not to let me have the position was just a kick in the teeth. And I remember walking to the train station and feeling so low. I'd been beating myself up about it all day and I was crying, and it makes me feel so weak saying this, but it's not supposed to make me feel weak. I tried to kill myself, tried to commit suicide. And if it hadn't been for one of the random passengers on the train platform, I would have jumped. But he saw me crying and he was like, why are you crying, sis? What's wrong? And he was so sweet. He just kind of guided me onto the train. And I cried the whole train home. And then I walked home and I cried the whole walk home. And I got in and my mum was home and she was like, what's wrong? And I couldn't form any words. I couldn't speak. And I don't think I spoke for a few hours. I was just crying hysterically and I fell asleep. And then my sister came home from work and she was like, listen, I've gone through this with you, you need to get help. She's like, you need help now. I didn't tell her what had happened, but it was obvious that something had happened. I was completely spaced out. So I went online and did a self-referral for mental health, for cognitive behavioural therapy, and waited for them to get in contact with me. And I spoke to somebody on the phone. I was on the phone to him for ages, but it was the first time I'd ever been able to speak to somebody impartially. And he was lovely. He set me up with a therapist, and that therapist actually cancelled on our first appointment, but it was a gift from God, because then the replacement therapist that I got, she was absolutely amazing. I lent on her for so much, and she was more than just a therapist. She became a friend, and I still hold her dear as a friend now for everything that she did to help me. I went to see my doctor and I decided to start a course of antidepressants. So I take the antidepressant citalopram, and it has really helped stabilize my moods. At the start, the first few weeks were awful. The negative thoughts piled up. It's a side effect of the tablets, and the suicidal thoughts were increased. But after that, and that combined with cognitive behavioural therapy, I was slowly but surely making steps, and I'm just so thankful for that time in my life. I never thought I'd be thankful for going through it, but it has really made me the person that I am today, and it's made me believe that I'm strong enough with God to overcome anything. And now I want to help other people understand that they can overcome anything, especially young people in the Afro-Caribbean, the black community. Mental illness is such a hush-hush taboo. Like, we don't talk about it. It's something that is not even acknowledged. My parents don't believe in therapy, but with me going through my therapy and my depression, they've seen the benefits of it. They've seen their daughter come out at the other end, so now they're advocates for it. But before that, it's like, black people don't got time for problems. Like, get yourself up. You've already got a problem enough. Pick yourself up. You're fine. And especially being Christian as well, it's the case of, how can you think to take your own life? Christ made you. He's the only one divine enough to take someone's life, to end someone's journey on earth. How can I have the thoughts? So for a long time I was in depressive shame. I was in black shame, where I felt like I couldn't express myself to my community and my peers. And then I was in Christian guilt for just thinking of what I could have done if I had taken my life that day. But thankfully, for God and his grace, like, that wasn't his plan for me. And I firmly believe that the purpose he's given me from going through that is to help and empower other people to know that it's not the end. It's dark and it might seem like it's suffocating you, but you can get through this, and you will get through this. To anybody that's having these thoughts, seek medical help. Call your doctor, book an appointment. Or anybody that needs help are going to be below. It's the Samaritans helpline to self-refer, cognitive behavioural therapy, just different things you can do to find comfort and get the help that you need, because everybody's worth something. Like, don't let the depression tell you that you're worthless, because you're not. I'm here to tell you that you are worth something. You are worth more than you know. Like, you were created. Somebody knew, God knew, to create you to be who you are. The very essence of you is written, and you have to hold that and walk with it and walk in faith and know that you have purpose. And if you're not religious, still know that you have been made, whether you believe it or not, that God sees worth in you. So find the worth in yourself. So that is the first video in the series for Girl in Bloom, and I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching. Message me, private message me if you need anything to speak about but you don't want to make it public. Comment below and we can have a conversation. I'll leave my links to Instagram if you want to contact me on there, and let's just make this a really positive, happy place for people to share things, and we'll get through this together. So remember, it's Mental Health Awareness Month, so be kind, show love, and help somebody with an invisible illness. So thanks for watching, guys. I'm praying for you all, and I love you all.